The class is in Hindi or English? Hindi. It's possible, but it will be 50% output. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhansa Parivajak Acharya Shrostar Sadasya Srimati Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज श्री राधा कुंज श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. You have the right one? I hope you speak accurately.
हरे कृष्णा। आज हमारा बहुत ही अच्छा सौभाग्य है कि श्री श्रीदामा प्रभु हमारे बीच हैं। तो और किशोरी माता जी श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ मंदिर में बहुत सीनियर काउंसलर हैं और हिज होलीनेस राधानाथ स्वामी के बहुत ही सीनियर डिसाइपल्स हैं और वहाँ पे जो काफ़ी सारी सेवाएं हैं, स्पेशली जो बच्चों का जो केयर का जो कमेटी है उसका भी अध्यक्ष करते हैं और सबका बहुत लोगों का मार्गदर्शन करते हैं। यहाँ पे जितने डिवोटीज़ हैं उन सबका कभी ना कभी उनके जीवन में प्रभु जी की वजह से उनको इंस्पिरेशन मिला है। तो आइए हम उनको बीसीईसी में आज स्वागत करते हैं। एक बार हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र बोल के हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 3 चैप्टर 5 टेक्स्ट 42। यश्रद्धया श्रुतवय च भक्त्या समृज्यमाने हृदया वदान्या जाने न वैराग्य बले न धीरा व्रजिमा तत्ते निर्ज्ञ सरोजपीतम् यश्रद्धया श्रुतवत्य च भक्त्या समृज्यमाने हृदया वदन्नया जाने न वैराग्य बले न धीरा व्रजेम तत्ते नृगीशरोजपीतम् यश्रद्धया श्रुतवत्य च भक्त्या संयज्यमाने हृदये वधन्या ज्ञाने न वैराग्य बले न धीरा व्रजमा तत्ते नृगृह सरोजपीतम् Mataji's. Yat, that which, Shraddhaya, by eagerness, Shrutavyatya, simply by hearing, Cha, also, Bhaktya, in devotion, Shramyajamane, being cleansed, Hridaye, in the heart, Avadhyaya, meditation, Jnanena, by knowledge, Vairagya, detachment, Balena, by the strength of, Dhira, the pacified, Vrajima, must go to, Tat, that, Te, your, Angri, feet, Sarojapitham, lotus sanctuary. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Simply by hearing about your lotus feet with eagerness and devotion, and by meditating upon them within the heart, one at once becomes enlightened with knowledge, and on the strength of detachment, one becomes pacified. We must therefore take shelter of the sanctuary of your lotus feet. Purport. The miracles of meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord with eagerness and devotion are so great that no other process can compare to it. I repeat, the miracles of meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord with eagerness and devotion are so great that no other process can compare to it. The minds of materialistic persons are so disturbed that it is almost impossible for them to search after the spiritual truth by personal regulative endeavors. But even such materialistic men with a little eagerness for hearing about the transcendental name, fame, qualities, etc., can surpass all other methods of attaining knowledge and detachment. The conditioned soul is attached to the bodily conception of self, and therefore he is in ignorance. Culture of self-knowledge can bring about detachment from material affection, and without such detachment, there is no meaning to knowledge. The most stubborn attachment for material enjoyment is sex life. One who is attached to sex life is to be understood as devoid of knowledge. Knowledge must be followed by detachment. That is the way of self-realization. Knowledge must be followed by detachment. That is the way of self-realization. These two essentials of self-realization, knowledge and detachment, become manifest very quickly if one performs devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. The word dhira is very significant in this connection. A person who is not disturbed even in the presence of cause of disturbance is called dhira. Sri Yamuna Acharya says, since my heart has been overwhelmed by devotional service to Lord Krishna, I cannot even think of sex life. And if the thoughts of sex come upon me, I at once feel disgust. The devotee of the Lord becomes an elevated dhira by simple process of meditating in eagerness on the lotus feet of the Lord. Devotional service entails being initiated by a bona fide spiritual master and following his instructions in regards to hearing about the Lord. Such a bona fide spiritual master is accepted by regular hearing from him about the Lord. The improvement in knowledge and detachment can be perceived by devotees as an actual experience. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu strongly recommended this process of hearing from a bona fide devotee. And by following his process, one can achieve the highest result, conquering all the methods. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvei Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I'll start. I'm not very comfortable, unfortunately, my misfortune. I'm not so comfortable with Hindi. If I were to give a full 100% output, yeah, so how many of you understand or don't understand? I'm sure many people can translate, yeah, so. It's just that I want to try to serve you the best possible way, and this is the best way. So Hare Krishna, my great fortune to be with all of you today at this very beautiful place. It's one of my favorite places, and I try to come here whenever possible. And in such a beautiful, vibrant temple and a vibrant community of devotees, and very innovative, and one of your leaders, Kanai Thakur Prabhu, is my very dear friend and a very favorite of one of my devotees. So, I wrote to him and he's in Chicago. I said, what are you doing in that cold place there? So he said, I'm coming back in 2 days. I said, okay, fine. I'm going to be here, and if you feel I can serve the devotees, I'll be happy to serve them. In this auspicious month of Kartik. Yesterday night I had a very, very, I was with some professional engagement I had, and there was so much of material dance and all this stuff. I said, I must unwind myself. So I said, this is a beautiful chance for me to really meet all of you, and in this holy month of Kartik, speak about this holy scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, and and just spend time with you all for some time, whatever we have together. So this beautiful verse, Prabhu's, is such a this is the prayers, if I am not mistaken, by the demigods to the Lord, and this is addressing the very crux of spiritual life. Shrinvita Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantastua Bhadrani. The whole process of hearing. So, Krishna consciousness is a process of purification of the heart. Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. But how does the heart get purified? First of all, we have to understand that the heart needs purification. We should accept the fact that there is a great need for purification. Krishna Bahir Mukha Jiva Bhogavancha Kare Nikate Amastane Japati Adhare. That having this very unfortunate situation in our life where we have been trying to enjoy separate from the Lord since time immemorial, it is an extremely unfortunate situation. How strange and how artificial life that we have been living, and that too not just for few years but for lifetimes. Yeah. And in this very, very artificial situation, for the soul, right? For the senses, this is fun. The senses are enjoying living this life because who doesn't want to be served? And senses have been served by us for eternity, and they're enjoying because they have been served by And they have got so many loyal servants, the senses. And they've been served for eternity, and then suddenly one fine day, one Sadhguru comes and he tells you that, well, you cannot serve the senses. And that happens with the process of hearing. And then we realize that, yes, this is not the life that I need to live. I need to live a life which is meant to be serving Krishna, meant to be serving my spiritual master. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittite Koryo Akya Arana Koryo Mane Asha. That is the purpose of my life. To make the instruction of my spiritual master as my life and soul, and have no other desires whatsoever. Just recently we celebrated the disappearance of Narottam Das Thakur. And his whole life was an amazing example of what it means to live a life surrendered to the spiritual master, and to what extent he went to really show his dedication to the spiritual master, in spite of the fact that he was a person who had received such special mercy from the Lord directly. Many times, the tendency of all of us, even after being a practicing devotee, or rather specifically this is in the situation of while we are practicing devotees, is that when we get some sort of a connection to somebody higher, the tendency is that we want to look down upon the other people who are lower. Well, I'm connected to the boss. Well, I don't care about you. You were a good ladder for me. I climbed the ladder and I reached the top. But now I don't need you, so I kick off the ladder. I don't need you. That's the tendency. And the tendency very strongly creeps into spiritual life, because in spiritual life there is, whether you like it or not, there is a need for hierarchy. Hierarchy is not bad. In fact, it is a very culture of our life. In spiritual life, hierarchy is there. There's always sound of the sound of the sound of sound. So gopis pray for hierarchy. I don't want to be your servant, my dear Lord. I want to be the servant of your servant, of your servant, of your servant. Gopi bhartu pad kamal, your das anudas. So there is hierarchy. There's nothing wrong in hierarchy. But the tendency is, that if I am connected to the top, then I don't need. And that's a very dangerous situation. But can you imagine the situation of Narottam Das Thakur right before his birth? Even before he was born, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invested his prema bhakti in the river, and he told Nityananda Prabhu, none other than Nityananda Prabhu, that please make sure that Narottam comes and receives this bhakti which I have deposited in the river Padma. River Padma, if you know in the financial terms, that we have something what's called custodian, right? That they are custodians. So custodian is not the owner, but they just on behalf of people or behalf of parties, they hold on to that particular wealth or that particular transaction. They're custodians. So river Padma was the custodian of none other than the love of God, which was of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is, can you imagine what sort of custodian service is that? And it was said that when Narottam Das Thakur would come, and then she asked, how do I know who is Narottam? I don't want to give this wealth to somebody, to a wrong person. How do I identify? What is the OTP? So that I know that this is the person I must give this wealth to. I said, you don't have to worry. The moment he comes in your waters will swell in ecstasy. You will feel that vibrancy, you will feel that devotion overflowing in your personality. Just give that wealth. So Narottam Das Thakur was right from before he was conceived. The devotees knew. Because Lord Chaitanya shouted in the direction of river Padma, and she was shouting the names Narottam, Narottam, Narottam. They didn't know who is Narottam. There was nobody like Narottam that time. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying that very soon this great devotee will be born. So even before he was born, people knew there was a devotee named Narottam. So what is the tendency that when you are born, and then people tell you that, oh, you are Narottam. Oh, I am Narottam. That's the tendency, right? And in our own ways, we many times, we come to in a very, very humble background as devotees. A devotee preaches to us and we come and obviously we realize that we are so fortunate that this devotee has preached to us, and then we get a chance to be in a devotional sangha a devotional sangha. But as we spend more time in Krishna consciousness, we obviously end up doing some services, we end up doing some phenomenal services, right? And then we get access to the higher ups, because we get quote unquote recognized for our services. But that is the test of how are you going to take that recognition. Whether you will be saying, okay, no, now I've recognized by the top people, and how do I deal with the other people? Ramanujacharya, he sent two of his disciples. He was going to a place where there were two disciples of his staying, and he sent two of his disciples to say that when I'm coming to the house, tell them I'm coming. The Ramanujacharya himself decided that he's going to go there. Special, isn't it? Just imagine that you get a message that your guru is coming to your house. Not that you invited him, but he himself decided to come to your house. So one disciple went to one of the other the house and said, you know what, you are so fortunate, Ramanujacharya is coming to your house. And obviously he was in ecstasy. I said, wow, what a blessing. And then he went into a complete arrangement to really have the best possible arrangements for Ramanujacharya. And then that disciple who was a messenger, he went back to Ramanujacharya and said, oh, Gurudev, your disciple is so much, he so much loves you. He's so much attached to you that when I told you were coming, he was in complete bliss, and he just went into a complete frenzy to make amazing arrangements for you. And Ramanujacharya said, how did he deal with you, my dear friend? What did he do with you? I said, no, Gurudev, he was just so busy, he just sort of, he didn't use the word ignored, but he said, but that's what it was. This messenger was humble. He said, no, Gurudev was so happy to just hear this message. He was actually just went on to just prepare. And by that time, another disciple came back. I said, oh, Gurudev, this disciple is also very eager for you to come. He was completely in bliss to receive you. And how did he deal with you? Ramanujacharya asked. I said, oh, he was so very loving to me. He made me sit and offered me the best of prasad and took so much good care of me. I said, I'm going to go to this devotee's house. I'm going to go here and not there. Why? Because he knows the secret. He has the secret sauce, as we say. And this is such a serious secret sauce, my dear friends. And many a times, many very senior devotees miss this secret sauce because they attach to the chili sauce or the tomato sauce, which makes them very, very vibrant, like the chili. But the secret sauce is not in the chilliness. The secret sauce is in being unassuming. Not being known by being. If you eat a chili, you know about the chili. The devotees sometimes make their presence felt in a sometimes bitter way or sometimes chilly way. And they know, oh, I am here now. Better people know that. But that's not the secret sauce, Prabhus. The secret sauce is in being unassuming and nothing. And if that is the source you have, that is when you have got the mercy of the spiritual master. So, we are talking about a very lofty principles about taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord here. That the demigods are saying, please, we would need to take, and by taking shelter of the Lord, one becomes enlightened with knowledge and detachment, and therefore we must take shelter of the sanctuary of your lotus feet. The sanctuary of the lotus feet. There's another verse about lotus feet. Krishna tvadiva pagapanka japanjarantam advaitame vishatame ramarnasa rajahamsa prana pranaya kafa. I know, this crazy party made me, my voice is gone. I didn't shout, but it is just reaction to all the bad things. Anyway, so I'm sorry for my throat. It is not so good. Yeah. So may my mind be entwined in the network of the lotus of your feet. Who is this? Mukund Kulashekar is writing in the Mukund Mala Stotram. King Kulashekar. He said that let my mind be immersed in the lotus of your lamp, because at the time of death, and let it be immersed right now when I'm young, but at the time of death when my throat is choked with kafavat and pit, kanthavrodhana vidhau, smaradam kutaste. And how will I ever remember you at that time? So let my mind be. But the Lord's lotus feet is not ordinary. And I would like to share with you one very interesting observation. How many of you have seen the Mount Everest, or rather how many have been to Nepal, or at least seen from, and not many people. You have seen photos, I'm sure. You have seen photos for sure, right, of Mount Everest. Now, what happens at the Mount Everest, is it that it is just a plain land and then suddenly there's a mountain Everest? What is that what you see? What do you see? You see many other peaks. You see many other mountains, and of course in that you have the Mount Everest, and there are many other peaks. So obviously, for a disciple, the spiritual master is the Mount Everest. Is the foremost Vaishnava that he worships in his heart. But the beautiful fact, the way the nature teaches us, is that or the desire is that I'm close to my spiritual master, and I have a direct relationship with my spiritual master. I talk to him, I deal with him, and I discuss management with him, and he gives me instructions. I have a direct connection to my spiritual master. But by doing that, we forget that while there are other mountain peaks which may not be as high as the Mount Everest, but there are so many other mountain peaks surrounded Mount Everest. And to the extent you want to respect the Mount Everest, you have to respect the other mountain peaks around the Mount Everest also. Right? So it is very, very critically important for a Vaishnava to understand the presence of Vaishnavas in your life. It is only after being a Vaishnava Bhakta, then you can become a Guru Bhakta, and then you can become a Krishna Bhakta. You cannot become a Krishna Bhakta without being a Vaishnava Bhakta. What is that Guru Ashtak prayers? Hari Bhakta Sanghan. Such a beautiful line. My favorite line in the whole of Guru Ashtak. He is not saying I want to do it alone. Hari Bhakta Sanghan. Kritvaiva Triptim Hari Rajato Sadaiva. Hari Bhakta Sanghan. What is life without Vaishnavas? Just imagine if only you and your Guru existed. What will you do? First 1 hour will be ecstatic. Only me and my Guru. Oh, wow. There are many times, when I go to the altar, Sri Radha Gopinath, I was telling my friend who drove me that I've been serving since 1992, Radha Gopinath altar, and many times we would wake up the deities and it was just the whole altar. And many of us who do that service, we have this grand altar, Radha Gopinath, Gaur Nitai, Gopalji in front of you. The curtains are closed, and only you and the deities and you. It's a very romantic experience, right? How many of you experienced this, right? But then after some time I say, yaar, maja nahi aa raha hai kuch. I mean, what is the fun without devotees around? Literally, you have the deities, but without devotees, what will you do there? You can't just look at them and they say, enough, we get some more people. Right? So, the real fun is more the people in between, the more it becomes sweeter. And that's what this verse is actually telling us. To hear from the representatives of Krishna. The demigods are telling us that hear. Of course, there's a whole process of what is so special about hearing. I'll just tell you briefly. I would say some. It is very interesting that hearing is such a powerful process. It's actually the most powerful process. I just made some. If you see that the ear, all other senses are doorways to information. But the ear is the only sense which is a doorway to transformation. All the senses will give you a lot of information. But it is through the ear, Shravanam, that you can have transformation. So many times, we have this, so what is so great about hearing? And then we have phrases, in English, we have phrases like seeing is believing, right? We have phrases like a picture is worth 1,000 words. We have phrases like to see is to know. But we also have phrases like seeing is deceiving. We have phrases like, don't judge the book by its cover. We have phrases like, not all that glitters is gold. Right? We also have phrases like, we only see what we want to see. So what is this dichotomy that we are talking about? The same English language is telling us on one side, seeing is believing, And the same language is saying, don't judge the book by its cover, because what you are seeing is not what it is. So basically you must understand that, the same language itself is very confused with what actually is a reality. Right? Two different schools of thoughts saying two different things. But the fact of the matter is, as I said, that it is through this hearing we can experience transformation. And it is through this hearing all other activities of the other senses can be done. Now, let's give an example. Seeing through your ears. What we are told to do is seeing through your ears. Now you say, how can I see through my ears, my friend? What is this? How can I see through the ears? But just imagine, and if we go into a sort of a guided meditation, and we've called it guided meditation, right? Or for that matter, forget guided meditation. Just information shared with you that now you are just landed in the New York City. And then you are walking towards the Statue of Liberty. And there you see the mighty Statue of Liberty. Now what happened when I said this? You saw the Statue of Liberty, yes or no? I'm not talking, there's a reason I give the example of Statue of Liberty. I'm not even talking about spiritual things. I'm talking about a very mundane thing like Statue of Liberty. And still you could see through your eyes. Many of you have not even seen Statue of Liberty, right? But you see, some lady standing there. Right? So seeing through your ears. You saw through your ears, my dear friends. That's the power of hearing. And similarly, for the shortage of time, we will not go to the other senses, but we can touch through our ears. For example, we say that your words were very piercing. It pierced my heart. I mean, what is this phrase? तुम्हारे शब्द इतने कठोर थे कि मेरे हृदय को छिंद छिंद कर दिया. I mean, it pierced my heart. It hurt me. So what does it mean? Words are words. How can words pierce and cause you pain? But it's the fact that we say that words cause pain, that means there was a sense of touch. Oh, your words are so soothing, Prabhu. I felt so nice. I mean, you just said a word, but you felt, so nice. I felt so much cajoled and so nice, right? That's what it is. Like when you are in touch with some very, very nice devotee, and he says that, Prabhu, don't worry, everything will be fine. Just relax, just have faith in Krishna. And they speak some sweet words. You feel nice, you will feel like a balm. Somebody is applying a nice balm on you. It's just words. But through the words, you can experience touch. Yes or no? And similarly, you can smell through your ears. If a karmi comes just now from the door and says, "Hey, kya pagal bol raha hai?" I mean, if somebody hears this, how can you smell through your ear? But that's the fact. Just imagine if I describe to you a beautiful garden of jasmine. And I usually take people on a guided meditation and they actually Prabhuji aaya, sugandh aaya. I don't have time for that. But yeah, if you just describe it as that there's beautiful breeze blowing and there's a whole garden of jasmine and you're sitting there and there's a one gush of wind blows and you just carries the jasmine fragrance and you just inhale it at that time, you will experience jasmine fragrance. It's a fact. Right? So the point is, by Shravanam, there's a whole process. How does this hearing gives us prem? By hearing you can have prema. Nashta prayashu bhadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatir uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. That irrevocable devotional love is, devotional love is established in your heart as an irrevocable fact. That's what it says. How can hearing lead to prem? There's a process. And the process, I'm going to just say the process and not describe it because of the time. The process is Shravanam, which should lead to Mananam, which should lead to Smaranam, which will lead to Dhyan, which will lead to Anubhav, which will lead to Bhav, and with that leads to Prem. I'll very briefly describe. Smaranam is incomplete till the time you don't sit and do Mananam. वो चीज को मनन करना कि हमने क्या सुना, what did I hear today, what was it that I need to meditate upon. That's Mananam. That word is very, very normally used, like Manan karna. So Mananam. From Mananam comes Smaranam. You remember. And actually, if I take the example of, say one example we take of Dhruv Maharaj. Okay? Dhruv Maharaj heard from his spiritual master. Then he reflected upon the Narad Muni's words. So there's contemplation. First hearing, then contemplation, then Smaranam. Okay, my Guru Maharaj told me to do Smaranam in the form of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So he started doing Smaranam. From Smaranam, he fixed his mind on the Lord and then came Dhyan. Right? I'm just rushing through Prabhu's, but I'm sure you are able to understand what I'm trying to say. And from Dhyan came Anubhav. He actually physically saw the Lord in front of him in the ford. And that's a place in Madhuvan, in Vrindavan. He saw the Lord, Anubhav. And from Anubhav was Bhava. He was in ecstasy. I said, oh Lord, I was looking for broken pieces of glass. And what I've got now is a rare diamond. He was feeling that sort of a experience, emotions churning in his heart, seeing the Lord. That was Bhav. And from Bhav came Prem. At a point of time, he gave up his kingdom and he surrendered to the Lord. And like that, we have examples of the gopis of Vrindavan, Maharaj Parikshit, so many examples. We can see the same process followed. From Smaranam comes what? Shravanam comes, Maranam comes, Smaranam comes, and Dhyan comes, Anubhav comes, Bhav, and from Bhav comes Prema. So if you follow this beautiful process from Shravanam itself, you will actually experience Prema. You do not have to artificially try to jump to that Prema. It will not happen. Because as students of chemistry that many of us are, we know we have to follow the process to really get the end result. We cannot jump and expect the end result. You agree? You can say, let me just forget these two in between processes and expect the same result. Not possible. Right? So this is the power of hearing. And that is why hearing is so very important, and that's why the last paragraph of Prabhupada says, very interesting, and that is connected to what I thought I will share with you on the occasion of Radhanath Maharaj's 75th anniversary. And it is just a few days remaining before we celebrate his very, very holy, auspicious appearance day. It says that devotional service entails being initiated by a bona fide spiritual master and following in his instructions in regards to hearing about the Lord. Such a bona fide spiritual master is accepted by regularly hearing from him about the Lord. The improvement in knowledge and detachment can be perceived by a devotee as an actual experience, right? So this is the process of Guru Sishya Parampara. It is all about hearing, Prabhus. While Vapu is important, while physical association is very important and we should grab it whenever possible, but it all boils down to the fact of Vani. Many a times, and again, whatever I'm saying is you can directly consider it in respect to Radhanath Swami because I've started that discussion. Many times we bring down the relationship about the guru and disciple to a very, very mundane level, to be honest, without for us really realizing it. We bring it down to a very mundane that I will experience the love of my spiritual master only when he pats me and he looks at me and he loves at me and he sits with me. What are we doing by that? We are sending the vibrations that, Guru, if you want to deal with me, you have to deal with me this way. Now, Guru and disciple relationship is very profound. It is very divine. It is not at all based on any mundane platform. Radhanath Maharaj was in Ukraine many, many years back. And he goes to Ukraine once every 3 years. I'm talking about not now, of course, we can't. He still went there during the war time once he went. But so I used to go to Ukraine, my Kishori and myself, my daughter, we used to go every year to Ukraine. It's like a second home for us. So Maharaj went to Ukraine and He was there for 3-4 days, 4-5 days. And on the last day he was supposed to initiate devotees. But Maharaj became very sick. So he said, I cannot do the initiation. So devotees were obviously not very happy that, oh my God, we are missing out. And many devotees have come from different parts of Ukraine. Ukraine is quite a big country, and there were other 4 different parts of Ukraine. They all come from different parts. And then Maharaj was leaving that day of morning, late morning, and he just told the leader that, okay, I will initiate, but you do the yajna afterwards. So he said, I'll just give the names and the beads, and then when I leave, then the devotees can come back and then do the yajna. That's fine. So Maharaj initiated all the devotees, and there were a couple of Matajis who also got initiated from places like Odessa, Kharkov, Dnipropetrovsk, Donetsk, these different places. And Maharaj was then leaving for the airport. So Maharaj left for the airport, and many devotees also left earlier that we want to receive. These devotees who got initiated, they also left early in a vehicle that we will receive Maharaj at the airport and see him off. So Maharaj was going into on the way, there was a very serious major accident that Maharaj saw. Serious accident. So, we passed by that place, and Maharaj, because the person who was driving, he told me this story. So Maharaj just very intensely prayed at that spot because it was a very serious accident. So then he offered his prayers, and then he left. And from Ukraine he was flying to London. And it's just a 3-hour flight. So Maharaj reached London, and there Indra Swami Maharaj was also in London. So he told Maharaj that, did you hear about this news? Maharaj said, what news? He said that the devotees whom you initiated, they met with a major accident. And one of the Mataji has died in that accident. So one of the Matajis, our god sister, who was initiated, I can imagine what was the mood of, we all know what is our devotional level at the time of initiation, right? We are at the peak of our devotional best. You agree? So that accident which happened was actually of the same car of the Matajis. They were all in one car, and there was a serious accident, and one Mataji died on the spot. Other 3 were very badly injured. They were hospitalized. They broke their bones, very badly injured. And Maharaj said, no, I don't know. And then this story was told to me by the person who was serving Maharaj, who happens to be my cousin in London. So he told me in detail. He said Maharaj went to the room, and from his kurta, which was it was still there, he removed the chit of the names that he had given. It was still in his kurta, of the name of the devotee and the spiritual name. And he showed this chit to my cousin, not my cousin, my wife's cousin. So, and he showed it to him. I said, this particular devotee, I had given a different name to her. But when she came in front, I changed her name to Nikunja Viharini Devidasi. I said, when I saw her, I remembered the niece of Srila Prabhupada, who was staying in Sridam, Mayapur, who also had lost her life in the floods in Mayapur, if you remember, many, many years back. Maybe many of you were not around. But she died in the floods of Mayapur, Prabhupada's niece. He said, when I saw her, I remembered her, and I gave the same name of her to her, Nikunj Viharini Devidasi. Not knowing that she will also going to die. Just few hours later. And Maharaj said, so we must all know one thing, that there is a very, very strong connection every disciple has with their spiritual master. Or rather, the other way. The spiritual master has a very strong connection. I think that's most pleasing to hear, right? That the spiritual master has a very strong connection with every single disciple, and the number of disciples does not matter in this connection. Because this connection is on a spiritual platform where there is no material impediment or there is no material restrictions to what the Guru can do for the disciple. Physically, he may not be able to do for the number of disciples, but on a spiritual platform, there is no limit to how much the spiritual master can do for every single disciple that he is serving. So there is a strong connection. And by bringing the connection to a mundane level is actually very unjust. There was a devotee in Moscow. You'll be wondering why he's giving all Ukraine and Moscow examples. But that's what's coming to my mind. So he was a disciple of His Holiness Mukunda Goswami Maharaj. And he was a very, very famous comedian, famous all over Russia. A very wealthy gentleman. And I remember many of the senior Prabhupada disciples, he had a huge house in Moscow. So they would all stay in his house. We also knew him very well. And so his wife was not getting initiated. I said, he would say, well, because in his house all the spiritual masters would visit. So she had access to practically serving so many spiritual masters. So his husband said, but why you didn't find anybody worth your... I said, no, but it's not the question of that, but he said, I don't feel inspired from my heart. I need to yet feel connection. So he said, fine, no problem. Feel comfortable. Whenever you feel comfortable, you can. So that was in the mid-90s. Right? And then in 1998, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj went to Moscow for the first time. And, there was a huge event organized in one of the top halls there. And, he drove his wife, and Maharaj was doing kirtan there. He had already come and he was doing kirtan. And the kirtan was heard all around. So this lady, this Prabhuji was parking his car, and the lady said, this is my spiritual master. So even though I have not seen him, but I am feeling that strong connection. So anyway, the story doesn't end there. So she went and then she saw for the first time, because as I said, Radhanath Maharaj said, this is the first time he visited Moscow. So nobody had seen him yet. So there was no question of the prior acquaintance of Maharaj. But just the sound, naturally the Jiva's soul is hankering for that particular guru that the Jiva soul is looking for. And when you find that, and I'm sure that's the case with all of us, right? When we meet the person that we may not be even looking for a guru, that we may be actually thinking that I was not looking for a guru. Many of, at least in my case, was I didn't look for the guru. The guru walked in my life, yes, right? But still, the moment you find that person, you feel a very, very special feeling. So that is what means feel that the natural connection is right established at that time. That Prabhupada met Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Thakur. That connection was right there. Prabhupada felt that this is my spiritual master. It's not that he didn't want to meet him actually. He said, Narendra Mula, I said, I don't want to meet these gurus. They're all useless bakwas people. I don't want to meet them. So he actually didn't want to meet, but he was pushed. And then when he saw, he said, wow, this is the man. And that's where Prabhupada felt the connection. So anyway, this lady went, and then she accepted Maharaj in her heart. And then after a few months, they were going to Vrindavan. And of course, nowadays we are taking it a little lightly, I would say. But the whole system that time, or rather at that time, it was quite strongly prevalent that devotees would not go to Vrindavan till they actually take blessings of the spiritual master. Nowadays we just say, "Thoda time mila, 2-3 दिन तो Vrindavan घूम के आता हूँ." I mean, but it's not some tourist place that Vrindavan घूम के आता हूँ. What rubbish! So it is a divine place. It is an abode of the Lord. It It is the Lord inner chamber of the Lord's house. That's Braj. We went to a Vrindavan and we went one of the pujaris of one temple, and we said, "Ye devotee kidhar hai?" I said, "No, Vrindavan nahi hai, wo Haridwar gaye." He is going to Haridwar. So I said, "Oh, that of course the Brijvasi is Rasik." He said, "Hari ke द्वार पे तो भिखारी रहते, हरि के घर पे आओ यार." So I said, "Wow, there's no offenses to Haridwar. द्वार पे तो भिखारी लोग रहते हैं, क्या भिखारी? You come to the house of the Lord. This is the house. You come inside the house. There's Braj." So anyway, that's what Braj is all about. Vrindavan is. So you can't just go to Vrindavan and say, "Oh, I have 3 days. I'll just go around Loi Bazaar and not Loi Bazaar, temples." Loi Bazaar बीच में आ क्या करूँ? So sad, Prabhus. There's such a divine. The most divine it can ever get is the holy land of Braj. And our senses make it so mundane. Very sad. There's no hope for us if we make that place mundane. But there's nothing higher than that. क्या करेंगे हम? If you find that, you make that place mundane, then you're finished. That means there's nothing more for you to make something mundane. Right? So it is very important that you go with it. Anyway, many of us are traveling to Braj, to Govardhan. Please understand, it is a very special, devotional service that we are going to Braj with thousands of devotees. So anyway, that apart. So she actually was going to, the husband booked a ticket. I said, "We are going to Vrindavan." She said, "But I have not taken blessings of my Guru yet." And there was no way that, she could just call Radhanath Maharaj or something. So she was in her heart very, very reluctantly sitting in the flight and thinking, "Oh, what am I doing? I have not taken my blessing of my Guru. I'm going to Vrindavan, Moscow to Delhi, direct flight, Aeroflot Airlines, that is the local." She was sitting in the flight, feeling not so comfortable. But anyway, Guru, husband has said so. She also cannot just refuse the husband. It's part of the dharma, right? So she was in a dharma sankat. Then she said, anyway, she was sitting and then flight was taking off and the flight took off. And she removed the magazine. Every flight has a magazine, right? So she removed the magazine, she turned. The first page she turned. Just not first page, but she turned. She saw the page right there. In Aeroflot magazine, which is a Russian airlines, she sees a photo of Radhanath Swami worshipping Vrinda Devi. Can you imagine this? You think I'm lying? She sees a photo of Radhanath Swami worshipping Vrinda Devi, and there's an article. Every magazine has different articles of different countries, and this article was of India. And this article was talking about Indians, sadhus worshipping various devis. And of all the millions of photos that they could have got from the internet, they put this photo of Radhanath Swami worshipping Vrinda Devi. Now please understand this. In Vrinda Devi is a deity, they were in Bhaktivedanta Manor, London, they have a Vrinda Devi deity, and Radhanath Swami was doing the first arati of the deity, and that photo was taken, and it happened to be in this. Radhanath Swami is her guru. Vrinda Devi is the manager of Braj. You take her blessings to enter Braj. Here is Radhanath Swami worshipping Vrinda Devi. And she feels, wow, this is the direct connection. My Guru Maharaj is blessing me to go to Vrindavan. Do you think this is coincidence? If you think, then please get out of the room. Sorry. I mean, you can't be so coincidence. I mean, can anything be so much coincidence? Then you have to be really a hardcore non-believer in God to say this is coincidence. Vrinda Devi being worshipped by Radhanath Swami in Aeroflot magazine in Russian language. This proves, my dear friends, if you have the right desire, Guru will come in your life in amazing, miraculous ways. to guide you. He is not restricted to come in a physical form only. And by you thinking in that way, you are seriously restricting the powers of a spiritual master. So I think that's a very, very important point that I thought I would like to share as one of the take-home messages with respect to our meditation on His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. That we fully understand that he is fully sharing his blessings and mercy and whatever he needs to give through his Vani. And you can see that how elaborate arrangements, right now, of course, there are many temples, even this temple, we have air conditions in the temples and everything. But I think many years back, Radha Gopinath temple was the first temple, if I'm not mistaken, to make the whole temple all air conditioned. And there, devotees, and you will hear the stories from Gaurang Prabhu and those who are involved in that. They say, Maharaj, what air conditioning? Everybody will sit and they will just sleep. We have AC in Bombay, people are tired anyway, they're crushed in the trains, and they come to the temple hall and then there's nice air condition. As Maharaj said, no. We want to make the devotees very comfortable so that when they sit to hear Krishna Katha, they have a beautiful experience. The whole focus of his life, my dear friend, is so that he facilitates hearing Krishna Katha. And that's why this whole yatra that is going to happen, or even though whether you are participating or not. But the crux, the whole core of the yatra is sitting with 10,000 devotees and hearing Krishna Katha. Sitting and just hearing the stories which you may have heard, and visiting places which you must have visited many times. But that is the whole idea, to just sit and hear Krishna Katha. Because it's through hearing, you do mananam, smaranam, anubhav, and so on. Right? So let us all appreciate that. And of course, there are so many stories that come to mind. But time also is running, and it is a working day for all of us, and so we need to leave. But yes, I would like to just leave you all with this particular meditation that, let us completely appreciate the beautiful blessings that we all have in the form of the spiritual master's words, and one of the things that he repeats again and again. Even last Sunday he repeated. I was waiting, aaj to repeat nahi hua hai. And then the last few lines he said, so Prabhupada is telling us to be sincere, serious, and having no ulterior motives. He spoke this Sunday also. So many times we hear something and say, sincere, serious, and no ulterior motives. You can't take it. These are serious instructions of a spiritual master. And we should make it as a life and soul. And then you will experience the presence of your spiritual master in such amazing, miraculous ways in your heart. I can tell you that. So thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. Did I end late?